What the heck is up, everybody? Welcome to Sunday. We have a wonderful cannabis legalization news. We're going to talk about cashless ATMs and a plethora of other crap that happened this week in cannabis legalization news for December of 2021. Miggy, welcome.
Hey, what up, everybody? Thanks for joining us on this Sunday.
Sunday show. It's a fun one. I mean, cannabis legalization news is going to take mostly a hiatus for the next, couple of weeks as it's the end of the year and it doesn't look like anything's really going to get past Congress. But gearing up for 2022 is going to be something else.
Yeah, dude. Here in Washington, I just last night I just witnessed over 2,000 people gathering at a convention to watch three guys talk on stage about podcast shit, which blew my mind. Like last night, I had an opportunity to go watch the last podcast on the left live. And it was nice to go to a live show, and it was weird to go to a show that wasn't a concert, like music or whatnot, and to see so many people just hanging out and like civility wise, and we were even drinking and stuff. But and at that point, I was able to use my credit card to buy the drinks. It was nice.
Yeah, because wouldn't it be nice if I could buy this non-alcoholic? Okay, there's a tiny bit. It's a Miller 64. It's like a 2% beer. I have alcohol in it.
That's not
no, you can't use your cash. You can't use your ATM. You can't use your card. So what did Visa just come out and say?
Well, Visa issued a warning to against misuse of cashless ATMs used by cannabis retailers to skirt restrictions.
I can't believe it. Cashless ATM still illegal, so says Visa. This was actually one of the first episodes that I ever did of cannabis. I used to have the channel called Cannabis Industry Lawyer before I moved it over to Cannabis Legalization News. And so I was like, all right, well, you can't use this. How is this getting done? Because people have told me about these types of stories where they are saying that they've been able to buy weed with an ATM, a credit card or a debit card. And like, no, but I have seen this cashless ATM stuff where you use your debit card, which might say Visa, it might be a Visa debit card. And then you use that and it's just like an ATM transaction, except instead of the money coming out, then you using it and then paying for your cannabis, they just skip that step and they make it all digital. And so I guess that's what Visa's cracking down on.
Well, and this is for at point of sales transactions. So this, they're using that cash ATM saying, hey, I'm going to ATM $45.10 at this Green Herb Happiness 420 store, right?
Right.
And so at the end, you are subverting that supposed code that you're talking about, right? Because Pro Cannabis Media just did a show on this where they did a whole people in the financial part of it. Even Josh was on it. We're talking about with how the Safe Banking Act just recently got denied, at least riding through. It would be helpful for everybody from the lowest end person to the highest MSO, for lack of a better. But the lack of that code that you were talking about, because every time I see these financial people, I kind of think like, oh, great, somebody's got an answer to how I can use an ATM card at a store. Like finally, I can not walk in with $400 just to buy a dab rig or an ounce or whatever the case is, that you don't have to carry that much money because you are a target when you are walking around with that money.
Yeah. And then the story goes on, though, to kind of report this. Visa's the second largest credit card company. I guess they're behind MasterCard. And this warning is, as lawmakers, they don't pass safe banking, It was a December 2nd memo from Visa that was obtained by the Marijuana Moment. Shout out to them. Don't forget to sign up for their legislative database that they have for $25 a month on their Patreon account. So Visa said they were aware of a scheme in which merchants are using cashless ATMs to effectively sidestep the restrictions on what types of sales that payment cards can be used for. You see it all the time, actually, in the industry when you go to those trade shows. But cashless ATMs are point-of-sale devices. Oh, I think you already mentioned that. Let's do Nathan Gurin, CEO of FinCans. Quote, the cashless ATM solution in order to accept credit cards as a setup is clever, but it's also fraudulent, according to him. And what keeps me up now is not a win. No, keeping me now is when, not if, one or more of these eager assistant U.S. attorneys with their eye on advancement seek their teeth into this. It has catastrophic potential to derail our industry's momentum and inflict great damage. Remember, the election that's coming up next year has consequences. What type of U.S. attorney would go out there and try to sue over this, you know?
Well, and that's the thing, right? Like, somebody can get a hair up their ass and be like, "Yo, we have crime. These guys are subverting and not paying taxes. Now they're aiding and abetting for whatever they want to, whatever the bribery charge or what a
Mhm.
diversion, whatever charge they're going to made up as."
I mean, whatever charge gives them any type of money to go ahead and prosecute.
But the thing is, too, it's kind of like prohibition, right? We've created criminals, right? These guys don't want to be criminals. This is all about what, like a 4-digit code at the end where they can say this is cannabis. And I've asked you this before. Why can't they say this is produce? Produce technically is. I'm just saying.
I don't know, man, but we're talking about that stigma right now. And that's what's coming out of New York. I mean, New Jersey is going to legalize, and about 2/3 of New Jersey opted out. And right now, it's over 400 New York localities so far have said no to pot sales. This is from Michael Hill of the Associated Press. He's reporting it out of Albany, New York. More than 400 towns and villages across New York have opted to block local marijuana dispensaries and consumption lounges as a statewide deadline to do so nears, with many officials deciding to stay out of the upcoming market until regulators provide more clarity.
You're not even going to mention the witty freaking bud blockers? Come on, man. It's always got to be something with these guys. But yeah,
Bud blockers. Again, what's the number one rule of writing a headline in cannabis? It has to be a pun. It has to be a lazy pun. So bud blockers. Okay, great. Yeah.
I mean, that's a bad lazy one. But yeah, this is unfortunate that these cities just apparently don't like money. They don't want to, put better roads and better school systems because
they don't want the school. They don't want the tax revenue. I bet that they have a tax revenue amount, and I know in Jersey it's 6.625% for surcharge for the excise at the retail level, and a 2% transfer tax at the all the other levels. So like when the grower sells it to the producer to manufacture it into vape pens, and then they sell it back to the retailer, 2%, 2%, 2%, and then 6.5%. I know, like that's a lot of revenue, but so far, with 3 weeks left to the act, more than a quarter of the New York's towns and 31% of its villages have voted to become cannabis equivalents of dry towns, at least when it comes to dispensaries.
Right, but what you neglect too is you neglect that these stores, these shops, whether it be a grow shop, whatever it is, they're going to have employees, and these employees need to pay rent, and these employees need to pay their electric bill, and need to pay their food bill, go to grocery stores, and
have a bank account where they don't get kicked out because their check came from an employer that's not a Schedule 1 violation.
But I'm just talking about the money that gets funded back into a community is, in essence, these businesses help out. Now, you found a link for these places that are opting out.
Yeah, the Rockefeller Institute of Government has provided a very helpful link that we should throw out to everybody watching. And if you guys want a copy of this particular website that's there, go ahead and feel free to email me at tom@collateralbase.com, because as you know, Collateral Base is where I work. So it's this interesting marijuana opt-out tracker, and you can scroll down, and some of them are still going to vote. They haven't voted yet. Public hearing held on 12/21. That's in a few more days, and they may vote to opt out. If they don't vote, they can't opt out. So that is pretty good. The default rule in New York is to opt in. Many of the other jurisdictions that have legalized have put their default rules the opposite way. It's the same thing as if in your neighborhood, the opt-in rule for recycling applies versus the manual, like you're just everybody's in automatically and you have to opt out. That's how you can make recycling substantially more likely to happen. Most people should just be opted in by default, and therefore that's why only about 1/3 of New York, as opposed to like 2/3 of New Jersey, have opted out.
It's a shame to see so many people because like for them to opt out, they got to be very proactive about this, right? They have to actually come to a committee, sit around, come to a vote. And
fuck
so
these guys, we don't want them in here.
Exactly,
the wrong type of people. And what is the lamest place in New York? Anybody, any of the members in the audience? Shout out to all the members that are watching. Please let us know what the lamest place in New York is. That's Italian. Nobody is selling New York. It's all donations for now. Of course, yes, yeah. If I could just get a donation for 1/8 of an ounce of weed, yeah, no problem. That's not a sale. It's just a transaction, and then if you're an entity, you should still report that income to the IRS.
I just find it so funny, because New York City is obviously just like a tiny portion of all of New York State. Upstate New York is very country and it's very plain. But just it's very disheartening to hear that these people still believe in some sort of reefer madness. Like there's some sort of like, we don't want, not in my backyard. It's all.
This isn't the kind of people that we want in Albany. I don't think it's Albany though, you know.
Somebody's saying Granville.
Okay, hang on. We C3, former member of the show, C3. Granville, New York, evidently is stodgy AF. So if you've ever been to Granville, New York, let me know in the comments how bad it is.
So we got another news. Let's see.
More news brewing.
I got lost.
After the now we're into Arizona recreational marijuana sales hit a record high according to the state.
Oh, I missed that one. That's good.
Did I get the link in that one?
Nope.
Uh-oh.
Do you have
what
it?
happens? No, my kid was probably coming in when I was doing this.
That's the problem about parenting and doing a side job and running your own business.
Yep.
So how y'all doing?
Well, you can just skip that and then go to the next article we actually have.
We got
Tilray.
Tilray CEO. Whoops, I almost hit that wrong button. Add that one. Tilray CEO says there's potential to grow the business by infusing whiskey with cannabis. So,
yes. And let's have some monkey beers news. I'm not sure if you saw that new Sunny. It was great with the monkey beers.
No.
But that's pretty interesting. They say, which one were you just at, Miggy?
That was the Tilray. Oh, go back. I closed it out already.
Yeah. All right. You should let it ferment for a bit. You know, and just move on to the next one. So the Tilray news, we were supposed to do a stock bumper. I wrote notes.
Shit, yeah.
Didn't you see the notes that I wrote, like in brackets at the top?
Oh yeah, but I thought we were going to talk about it. Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
We're there. Go back.
Good times.
Pop it in. Bam.
All right. Oh, there it is. The stock news bumper. I'm going to start highlighting those so they actually jump out more. You know, that's one of the things about writing the show notes.
You know what? Donate so we're better, please. Help me.
Tilray. For the fourth time, we're reporting that the Tilray CEO says there's a potential to grow the business by infusing whiskey with cannabis, demonstrating he has absolutely no idea how his own product is regulated. When do you think that there's going to be infused THC and alcohol? Because I'm going to say 2037.
Yeah, dude, I was going to go over like 20 years because, just the regulation alone for just cannabis is going to be another 10, 15.
Serious.
So the infusion of the two together, again, this is an obvious play for a consumer, right? I've heard out here in the Northwest, there's people out here who have infused beer, who microbrew infused beer, cannabis infused beer. So it's a no-brainer if you're an adult and understand, like, I don't know, science and, for lack of a better word, drugs, because everything from sugar to heroin's a drug. You know what I mean? It's
everything from sugar to heroin is a drug, including this particular marijuana substance. Now, marijuana is not a drug, it's a plant, and marijuana is a pejorative. Cannabis is a plant, and THC, which crystallizes at the flowering tops of the female plant, that is so good that it is selling out in Arizona, and they have reported a recreational marijuana sales hit record high. According to the state reports, marijuana sales in Arizona hit record highs in October with nearly $58 million in estimated sales for the month. According to state tax officials, for the month, the Arizona Department of Revenue reported nearly $4.9 million in sales taxes raised in that month alone, known officially as a transaction privilege tax, because remember, the way that they get you around your rights in this country is say that you don't have a right to sell weed. It is a privilege to sell weed.
Got a hi from Serbia. Yo, Russia.
Hello, Serbia. Howdy from Independence, Ohio. That's one of the bumpers we'll have to get. Where are you from, yo? But thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate all the subscribers that are out there. So if you haven't yet, smash it. But okay, so in 2020, the Arizona voters approved Position 207 that legalized recreational marijuana use, and sales began in January of 2020. So it's going into its second. The previous record was back in July when dispensaries sold $54.5 million worth of cannabis. The $54.5 million of cannabis is for a population of only approximately 7 million people. And it's not like they got a lot of tourists that come in to buy, because California and New Mexico, to their bordering them, both legal.
Yeah, well, it could be a lot of Mexico tourists, though, too. because
Well, New
they're on that board.
Mexico is issuing their first licenses now, and not only that, they have a very open system. So New Mexico appears to be one of the easier areas to get your licensing.
Right. Well, I meant the tourism going on in thing in Arizona itself. I just spaced out. No, for Mexico itself, not New Mexico, but for Mexico, because the American weed is way better than the Mexican weed, and that's their problem, right? We're now diverting our products down there, and these guys are bitching and moaning about the waste being found. All the cookie packages.
Yeah, I don't care. It's falling on deaf ears when they hear mine. I'm like, seriously, you're complaining about that? Have you seen the crap that you throw into our country?
Oh,
And like
right.
get addicted to our people? But it's well, and again, I don't know where it's coming from. I'm not a DEA agent, and I hope to never be a DEA agent. I think I can do that.
We still villainize, right? Like the it's 420.
Oh my goodness. Well, smoke them if you got them. Thank you, Clouds. I really do appreciate that. Hey, one of the things that we're going to be doing here over at Collateral Base tomorrow is the New Jersey Cannabis Business Conditional License Application webinar. And this is the sales page for behind it. You should have gotten a few emails if you have gone to cannabisindustrylawyer.com and signed up there, or tried to fill out our form to see if you're qualified for getting into the cannabis industry. Tomorrow, we're going to go over the conditional application for New Jersey, and I'm going to give my estimations of who do I think will be able to actually get through and get licensed in the next 12 months, because New Jersey is going to be a lot like Michigan. So it's going to take some time.
Is it going to be a lottery, or is it just more point system?
Oh, no, it's its own thing. Let's go and discuss New Jersey license priority. That's what they're doing in Jersey. They've taken the social equity aspect of it, and they've kind of created a ranking system for the social equity, which is fascinating, really is. And so if you're here from Jersey, smash some likes, on several of our videos, and then hopefully I'll see you tomorrow at the webinar. But this is how they've done it. And so New Jersey is a rolling basis. And so it is just open for business come Wednesday. Rolling basis, you can apply, and they will review you in the following order. And so I've gone over this. This is who they want. 1A. If you are a 1A, you get reviewed. You know where I fall?
What's up?
I think I am a 10B. And so I would be the last person that they are interested in. And so tomorrow we're going to talk all about these 1As. I really don't want to be doing applications for anything that's not a 1A, as I feel that there's going to be so many of those that get in, and they're going to be processed first, that if you're not a 1A, let's say you're a 2A, which means that you're diversely owned, like if you're black or brown or female owned, you're still probably going to be in a line that's like 2 years long, and that whenever a social equity person comes in line, they just cut right in front of you. So some people have been waiting, like in states like California, for their applications to be processed for up to 4 years.
Damn.
That might be coming to New Jersey, but I will tell people to do this and how to apply, and they'll be like, but it's mine. It's all mine. I don't want to share with anybody.
But that they don't make the rules like that, right? Like, unless you have a S ton of money.
No, even if you have the ass ton of money, you can't get in. And so if you have the ass ton of money, you have to buy in the secondary market.
Yeah. But couldn't you get a equity partner to get in that position, though?
That is the hedge fund that I have to start next month. Has to do with the 7 financial source agreements and then the 5 management agreements. And so that would be the full canopy of a cannabis MSO that's trying to get its toe into New Jersey. They aren't ready for that, but I will be charging them.
You know what's funny? Levi Tucker, he must be a Canadian. He threw out these fighting words out here. Canadian weed's greater than American weed, but American weed's greater than Mexican weed. And as we're talking about Jersey, dude, in my younger days, because my high school time was in Jersey, and I don't remember any, because Canadian weed has always been a thing, right? But it's always been on the West Coast side. I never heard about like good Quebec weed. It's always like you want some of that British Columbia weed or the Victoria weed. And I'm just thinking now, like with like smugglers and whatnot, because Florida had the smugglers coming up, with
From Panama,
flash
Bobby
warrant.
Tuna.
Yeah, and so I'm wondering if, like, on the west side with, like, Hawaii and stuff, like maybe that's why the West Coast, even up to Canada, there was a lot of
Oh man,
I don't know.
Humboldt County goes back 50 plus years, 52 years at least, into like the late 60s when Mountain Lady or Mountain Girl was helping grow good pot for the Grateful Dead. I mean, like it goes back
Yeah.
into 50 years or more. But how did like Mountain Girl get that seed that started to grow it, or like how did they get that Afghani that comes into Humboldt 52 years ago? I don't know.
Well, a
That's an
lot of
interesting that would be a fascinating moment in cannabis history. And then who would be a great channel for that one? The Future Cannabis Project, because like I'm in the middle of nowhere, and they're in the middle of like Humboldt or like that area. I don't think Humboldt even has internet.
Sure. Well, well, because there's the big, like, Vietnam era. A lot of the Vietnam vets brought cannabis from Vietnam, or their use of, and a lot of the seeds too. So, obviously there were consumers before that, right? With the 60s and the 50s, or with the hippies, and like, where did that weed come from?
According to
The
this,
King
we
of
need to
Nepal.
read The King of Nepal to
Yeah.
find that out. And that brings me to my favorite cross, which we don't have this no more. And then I will try to do it via smell-o-vision, which will not work, by the way. It won't, but I think we should play a little Name That Strain, and hopefully we'll play it way better one day soon. It still just punches you in the face with terpinolene. It's like such a fresh smell. It doesn't smell skunky at all. It's just very like, effervescent style of smell, a little piney, like, but very, very upbeat. And that is a Nepalese crossed with a Vietnamese. And so it's a Nepalese Vietnamese cross that won the Cannabis Cup in 2004. It is named for a redheaded stranger. And so that is the Name That Strain. Sorry, we do not have any nugs. Here we go with the hippies. Yep.
I mean, they were right a long time ago.
Yeah. And
So
they may have a likelihood of being a 1A social equity business, which means you were arrested for weed or convicted of weed. And New Jersey has one of the best, most open, expansive definitions of social equity. So if you were arrested for weed or convicted of weed, we have to see how they come down on it. You can be at least a 1B. You'd have to be a resident of New Jersey to be able to be a 1A. A 1B ain't bad. That might take a year and a half to process. I don't know.
So you got the Kentucky news, but I didn't have a link. So here we go. I think I found it.
I'm pretty sure there's a link for Kentucky.
It was embedded in the story itself, but let's see. I think you're referencing a Marijuana Moment article, and then they reference a 44.
Yeah, let's go with the actual news one then, because that's what we got.
Well, let's say this one's going to be an audio piece, but the headline is so we can break
and
it down.
Zooms it in. Zooms it in. Hit the control pluses.
So the governor Bashir talks economic success, legalizing marijuana, and speculation of a presidential run. So I think
a presidential run too, and then he just had those terrible tornadoes come through 2 evenings ago now, but this weekend where over 100 people have perished in this crazy storm, like a tornado that went for 200 miles. But prior to that, he said that Kentucky should definitely move forward with medical marijuana. In a televised interview on Thursday. We've done content over at CannabisIndustryLawyer.com about previous bills in Kentucky for medical marijuana, and that was like one of our earlier articles, like 2 years ago. It's gone nowhere since.
Well, and then, it's funny. He goes on to say that part of the reason Bashir is in favor of legalizing MMJ is the economic benefit to Kentucky farmers who choose to grow cannabis. So it's interesting to hear the governor actually refer to the cannabis farmer as a farmer.
Yeah, because they's farmers. It's just that their crop ain't subsidized.
Exactly. And not just that though, but there's got to be a certain respect for the farmer. And that's kind of what I've always been with the advocacy I've been doing is, who gets arrested? It's the farmer, for the most part. It's not, the middle guy, or, they turn over the farmers.
Mm-hmm.
It's fortunate. But, it's nice to hear that they're, Kentucky itself.
He had some quotes. He said that it's past time for the state to legalize medical cannabis, and I can't wait because then we can get some licenses up in Kentucky, and we can make some nice tax dollars for those people that need it. And
Well,
medical marijuana, he said, can provide some relief for folks who would otherwise turn to more damaging substances, which is true because you know that there are stories about medical cannabis patients that have left the opioids.
well, and you know, medical is the gateway to recreational as far as policy goes. I think, you know.
Yeah, right. Come on.
Well,
Nobody ever said a ball was the gateway to playing baseball or basketball or making up football. It's just people like stuff that's good. And so it's good. People like it. You're just trying to keep people from something that's good. And you're just a jerk.
well, you know, if it wasn't for Prop 215, we wouldn't be where we're at now with the multiple states. I don't think, in my opinion. You know, if
Yeah.
one state didn't, if California didn't say, okay, we're going to have this medical marijuana market, and then it blew up to the point, kind of like here in Washington, where, you know, right now we have the Emerald Cup going on. This is a season.
Oh, yes.
You know,
The Emerald Cup is going on right now. That's like a life goal. I mean, if farm is farming next year, I'll be like, guys, we need to do a business trip to the Emerald Cup. We are not submitting anything. Please, God, no. You would get smoked.
but all these events are still worth it. Like even the Hall of Flowers that went on. You know, we talked to Brett 2 weeks ago, and he was getting ready for this ultimate adventure, which seemed pretty epic. Like I've been seeing the post, and even if you're not in the business, right? If you're a fanboy of like weed itself, these are great places to go. You know, they have so many samples out there, and you know, this is a legal thing out there that you just have to pay for a ticket, and then that's your fee to participate in this fun thing with cannabis.
But then the company pays for the ticket. That's the thing. And so being a lawyer, nobody likes to sell. Nobody likes to buy lawyers. And so like you got to hustle and you have to like figure out how you're going to get people to pay their bills and all that other stuff. People love buying weed. And so, if you could get the cannabis licenses, it becomes an easier sell. And then it's all about the cash flows, the consumer packaged goods.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, that's just business stuff though, but right now the Emerald Cup is still like, it's one of the, because of the medical side though, it's been going on that long where group of people, hundreds of people can gather peacefully, experience and enjoy and praise this plant and then go home and nothing happens. Like that's, besides.
They get good and stoned, but then, nothing harmful usually happens. But, a lot of the harm that's related to the plant has to do with its illegality. And so how dangerous it is to deal in it, it has nothing to do with the plant itself.
Right. And then that's what I'm saying with like legalization, at least for medical being the gateway is, Kentuckians are going to get medical if they do. And then hopefully the adults look around and go, hey, this isn't like opioids. This isn't like those pills that were being issued. Have you seen Dope Sick yet? We were legally being poisoned. And yet this plant, kills nobody, has killed nobody. I was listening to right now we're at the end of the year. This is where everybody does all their political wrap-ups, And one of the things that I heard was when Biden spoke about the Afghanistan war, he had this quote that I thought sounded really good and was really nice. And it was like, I don't believe that, this ongoing war, this endless war is helping anybody, helping any Americans. It's like, you know what? I could think of another endless war that hasn't helped anybody. And you could probably help us pull out. It'd be nice. But then that's the thing, right? Like so many people's lives are ruined over this freaking law.
Yeah. And Congress will do nothing.
Yeah. It's so much. Well, here.
People don't care, man. People have never cared. You know who people care about? Themselves.
Yeah.
That's who people care about. And they don't smoke weed, so fuck you. I'm going to just continue to write headlines that are jokes. I'm going to continue to say that everybody's bad that uses it. I'm going to continue to oppose it.
But part of that problem,
I feel like their parents or somebody that's close to them gets cancer or like addicted to opioids. And then suddenly they're like, oh my gosh, I was so wrong. I'm like, yeah, you're also like really, really powerfully stupid. I want you to embrace that powerful stupidity that you have because you needed until it was too late and you actually had to go to it and to realize it was a lie. You couldn't look into it and be like, maybe this is a thing. You had no creativity, no balls whatsoever to question anything until your life was on the line. And, fuck you.
Well,
You should have come around earlier.
because people like us, I think it seems like, and that's the hard part when you talk about this plant and also how it's people are subjugated, is like it gets you riled up, right? It causes a little anxiety. It causes a little like, this ain't fucking right. I want to, how can we fix this? But when you know how to fix things, especially in this parliamentary way that we do things, it's a long and tedious and unjust process. It's been easier to put people behind bars than it has been to free them.
It's been easier to murder people.
Yeah.
By getting a specific label from the FDA that says your drugs are less addictive than other opioids in that class, and therefore you're going to be more likely to sell it.
Well, how can you even justify the scheduling, right? The CSA, like as an adult, when all these people say, well, whenever they look back and say, well, it's on the CSA, they reference the CSA, right then you just lost me, because it's just like, look, you're proving your ignorance already when you're not saying like,
why is Congress, instead of doctors, finding the medical facts that we govern ourselves by?
Exactly. But
what the hell is that?
Well, and we know why in the beginning it's a tool. It's a tool for control, right? It's been this tool to control poor neighborhoods, or first, minorities, and then it became a class thing where it's like, now it's controlling the poor. We're gonna keep these people ignorant. When 9% of the voting population comes up in Texas to vote, that's your problem. We're so inundated and beat down and taught that our vote don't count, and this drug is, you're a useless POS if you do anything chemical wise. Where most of these people are functioning off of chemicals with cocktails at 5 o'clock, or whatever.
Yeah, there's a list evidently that I wasn't circulated, the approved chemicals to do. Right. That's kind of weird, because you're going through the approved chemicals and you're like, caffeine. Oh, okay. Alcohol. A little bit. To nicotine. Well, it's not so bad. Yeah, but you're smoking cigarettes. Like, oh, really? Wow. And then you get down to McDonald's and you're like, really? And then then you get into sugar and processed foods, where they see how well this food that they have invented in a lab is creating an addiction response. And you're like, that's okay. And you got these people locked up for that flour over there. What the hell is wrong with you people?
Or how many products can you walk up and down an aisle at any store, whether it be the pharmaceutical aisle or like a weird like chemical aisle for cleaning stuff, right? How many of these aisles can you walk down? You look at this stuff and you go, if I drink that, I'll die, right? But if I drink, I don't know, just challenge me, won't create like a squish a pound of flour down to rosin, and I will drink all of that. And I will not die, but I will sleep very, 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 very well for a couple of days, off and on.
I hope that you would. I mean, like, if you've done that much stuff, I hope that you would.
Well, like when Josh and I did the whole gram of RSO, oh, that's a good feeling. I didn't realize you could maintain that. I felt like I just got done smoking. I didn't even want to smoke for a good 16, 18 hours, dude. I was just so like, I don't need to, man. I'm just like, all right, just want to chill.
And that's what we're fighting for, everybody. That is the name that strain that, if you guys are hip to, that you can read things off the top level domain. That is Willie Nelson. And, I do enjoy a good Willie Nelson. It's just such a unique smelling strain. If you haven't yet, go give that stuff a whiff.
So I didn't realize so many states legalized it in 2021.
There have been a good number of states that legalized it in 2021. Let's go check out who's legalized it.
So year in review. 9 states legalized marijuana in 2021. That damn. It was such a long year. It's been a long.
This year was like if this year was a Matthew McConaughey movie, it would have been failure to launch.
Shit. So what we got going on here? We have
marijuana is currently legal in 30. It's an op-ed out of, what's the name of this magazine that we're sharing?
Shepherd Express.
Shepherd Express from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, that doesn't have any legal weed. They can only print, like, I wish we were one of these 9, as they advertise for their Potawatomi casino, because gambling is fine if you're an Indian casino. in Wisconsin, but you cannot have medical weed. So they can only say, you know,
well, I'm saying, because just as bad as it sucks that these guys in Milwaukee had to write an article about weed and like, oh, this sucks. I remember in college when I used to smoke all the time and this, whatever. I was so impressed to see that Serbia comment because in Russia, dude, you can still die for weed. Like,
you still die for weed in Russia?
Yeah, you can literally get incarcerated, even for like being a glass blower that makes bongs. Like, they're still at that level of reefer madness and craziness there. But
That's obscene. That is obscene. You know where it's gotten better though, and we can go through the list because we have the 9 states that legalized it. For example, Montana, with recreational possession of cannabis, became legal on Montana after more than 340,000 of Montana's only 600,000 residents voted for Initiative 190 at the polls. Recreational sales will not start until 2022, so there must be a lot of gift giving going on for Christmas in Montana. Arizona, there you go.
Which is not, they don't have good weed. I'm sorry, Arizona.
Oh, Mickey says Arizona has poo-poo weed, but the state began in 2021 with legal possession. Retail sales started on January 22nd, in less than 2 months of being the certification. Oh, wow. That's really cool because they voted for it, in 2020, and then they made it so streamlined that they were able to have like a lottery and all this other stuff and get going because it's in Arizona is a millionaire's club of an industry.
Well, they already had stores like that's the reason why I know that their weed is poo-poo.
Took until February 22nd for the November election results to become law in Jersey. Unlike Arizona, ballot initiative directly transcribed into law. New Jersey required legislative action to apply the results of any successful referendum. New Jerseyans approved the marijuana legalization amendment with more than 67%. But it didn't mean anything until the lawmakers passed I believe it is the Cannabis Regulation and Marketplace Modernization Act, or CREAM Act, as they like to call it, because it's Jersey. So in that respect, I think that they borrowed from the Wu-Tang Clan. They said cash rules everything around me, and they're like, we should call our weed plan the CREAM Act. I don't know if that was really what it was, but it's how it was named.
I'll guaranteed.
How very strange. South Dakota, medical and recreational, overturned the recreational, which BS, Kristi Noem. That's the only thing South Dakota evidently doesn't like about Kristi Noem, is that she did not vote for legal weed. Mississippi, medical overturned. Also, Mississippi, 73%. They were trying to go for it, but they said no. And then numerous ballot initiatives. Let's see, 2000. The state constitution said they had to have so many signatures. Yeah, it's just, we get a lot of calls from Mississippi, and I'm like, I don't know. I think that kind of got screwed up. And then New York, though, recreational New York, since New York's still taking a slow approach. Yep. Alabama approved legal medical, and so that's pretty sweet. New Mexico, recreational. I mean, it's just so many that we just kind of have to keep listing them as opposed to analyzing what the heck's going on in each one. But New Mexico, I will say that is quite open, and people are just applying. And then once they get caught up in the actual application, they're like, I need this type of plan. I'm like, would you like one? And then I help them out. Connecticut, recreational. Connecticut's got some weird social equity and lottery hacking rules. Those should start here in the new year. Really looking forward to the 3.5 million people. I mean, New Mexico, huge swath on the map. Less than 2 million people, or 2 million people. Connecticut, dinky little dot, 3.5 million. Virginia, 9 million people. I think 9, maybe even more. That's going to be a big market, but that market's going to not really get in there until retail sales and other stuff. That may take more time because there's going to be a gubernatorial election, it seems like. And Virginia, they just had it, and Glenn Youngkin was elected. So we have to see how that new administration that's just getting in place is going to approach medical weed. So there you go.
Damn.
That was a big year. That's a big year.
Yeah. No, I wonder how many are going to be for 2022.
I wonder if we could use this article again as evergreen content and lead a show with it, in a few days, and just see if more people tune in.
Oh yeah, sure, dude. Well, I plan to do another episode too on how like I know the answer to legalization, how everybody can legalize it.
What is that?
Register to vote.
Register. Then you should put that in our how-to viewer series, how to legalize cannabis in your state in 2022, and then tell everybody to go vote.
Because the reason why, dude, so like in Texas, right? Texas is the hardest state to register to vote, right? They require an ID, right? And the argument for IDs and voting is not to have an ID, but you're still creating a poll tax to vote, right? Because a lot of people don't have. It's goddamn $150 for just a state ID. Like that really is a poll tax just to have your voice heard by the constituents, right? Because as much as we tell them to send letters and contact them, well, you know what they're doing as soon as they get that email, they're probably bouncing it off to see who voted, because that list is out there, who's registered, who's not, and they're like, oh, I don't have to listen to this guy, and that's, I forget, we need to do number one. Step one, register to vote.
Step two, vote. Step three, when they do stuff like Kristi Noem or Mississippi, be like, hey man, what's up? We voted on this.
Seriously,
it's about something else,
It is, and this is, cannabis is not a single issue vote. It's because it's a multi-social wellness blockchain.com issue. You know what I mean? It means more than one thing. It's not just ending people going to jail. There's so much more behind it for our world. Shit.
But we do need to end the people going to jail. Like that. I love that meme that was going around with the big, huge brownie they made with the multi-ton brownie with like what was it? It was like 2.5 grams. There was like 25,000 milligrams. So more than that, 25 grams of cannabis in it, THC. And they said, you should literally, that was the thing that was written across it. You have this and literally free all the prisoners now. I mean, like, what the hell? I mean, like, you are setting records for like the largest pot brownie and taking a picture of it for your company, and you're just completely exploiting it for commercial purposes safely, and people are still in jail. Like Lance Glore is still in jail. He's going to probably serve his whole time, because he's almost been in jail for 10 years.
Yeah.
So like when Lance Glore gets out here in a few more years, is there going to be a social equity license round in Washington State so he can get some, so he can open a shop?
It's going to be another set of the question. I think once prohibition ends, it's going to be the reparations, right? Again, people have lost their lives, they lost time. They can't make this up. They can't go back and make their fathers come back to life, and they can't bring back the loved ones that died, or they can't have their kids regraduate high school or regraduate college. They're missing so much time, and this is the worst thing in American justice right now. This is the blight.
But then like, again, so that's our Facebook page right down there, facebook.com/free THC, like, the word free and then the letters THC. That you can't find. You can't find that. That is, it's got 300,000 people that like that message and support it, but it's systematically suppressed because of the laws. And when you rig the game so much that the truth is against the law, that should be something that people need to stand up and fix as quickly as they can. And they've done it before in the history of our country. And I think it's finally cannabis's turn. Everybody else had to come before cannabis because you had such a derisive approach to the plant and such a misunderstanding of your endocannabinoid system.
No, totally, dude. But not just that. It's also like, because part of the stigma that we're fighting, and it's an uphill battle, like that's already been, I hate this, it's been infused in the culture. Why is it when I search term marijuana or cannabis in both Facebook and Twitter, it asks me if I have a problem? It asks me, do I feel okay? Do I have an addiction problem? Thanks for asking me. I mean, why? Why? If I do that with alcohol, you're not asking me to go to rehab. You're not asking me if
Bud McKenzie comes and brings you like a 6-pack of Budweiser, and then you go party with Duffman.
You're a hero. Here's the other thing too, right? We're in the holiday season now, and as I was watching my antenna TV and watching my local news station, they were doing their highlights for like holiday gifting and whatnot, and they did the whole alcohol section, right? And I guarantee you, every one of our listener in every state you're at, how many of y'all been watching your local news and what kind of alcohol presentation they give you? Right? It's like this. Here are cocktails for your friends. You can play.
They have articles in papers like Kroger. And when Kroger sends you an email, not an they can email it, but they also will, like, it's a Sunday paper will have articles and like advertisements for stores in which they will explain to you how much you can buy, not just a fifth, but a handle of liquor. And this is legal. Meanwhile, when I'm drafting my cannabis application for New Jersey so that I'm completely compliant, I am making like 4 or 5 pages of disclaimers about things that my company will not do.
Yeah.
We will not advertise like this. It must be like that. I mean, like, it's just ridiculous.
Because of the children, right? You got to save the children. How many times has cannabis been chased after for what? Gummies? Shaped of gummies? Or
I don't know, but I hope that we can find that thing with, and I just don't know if we slip in. Won't somebody please think of the children from Reverend Lovejoy's wife in The Simpsons? If we play just a clip that short, like, will somebody please think of the children?
Yeah,
and we could just have that, like, on blast, like the hip hop horn. Well, we just get like a whole bunch of takedown notices from The Simpsons.
But still, and this is what it's all about, right? This whole like, you can't treat cannabis like alcohol but yet at the same time, when we're in these holiday spirit type festivity times, they're going to be like, here's some marshmallow pyramid vodka that we just created. It just tastes like rippling deliciousness. Yeah.
Right. We've mixed sugar, goo, and booze together. You're going to love it with cheesecake. Yeah.
But don't have flavored gummies that are infused or
or God forbid you'd make like a banana, Skittles or something that has a really, really fruity flavor that'll appeal to kids. Be careful with that pot.
It's all about the children, right? We can't entice them with your runts flavored cannabis, but yet have some marshmallow vodka that you want to put in your goddamn what is it?
Whipped cream vodka.
Cardi B, she's coming up with the whipped cream vodka. It's like
Cardi B has a whipped cream vodka.
Yes.
God damn it. Yeah. That is not okay. That's as not okay as Captain Morgan rum. Captain Morgan rum, not okay.
I'm just saying the way we're treating alcohol with the local TVs and the perceptions and the biasy that it's okay to celebrate your holidays with what's a Good Morning America chick Hoda and Coda, whatever, and they're drinking champagne. And
then, like, if I want to do one of these, if I want to hit one of these, on an internet area where I don't want to be censored, I have to do this. But that is just a great pumper anyway.
That is funny. But it's just the great hypocrisy that we live in is the reason why we can't have nice things. The reason why America is not going to be great again until it gets its shit together.
Yeah. However, the tax dollars that are being raised right now are going to start doing good things in the state of Illinois, and then soon in the state of Jersey, and then in the state of New York. Those monies are very real. Those impacts to people's lives in a negative way and costing them money because they're ensnared in the criminal justice system. And then people have to get penalized and go through that, as opposed to getting a job and paying their taxes and building a business, and then being taxed on it. That delta swings, and it's going to be great because, like, Washington State and Washington State and Colorado, they've bought a lot of good stuff with their tax dollars that they've raised from cannabis, haven't they?
Yeah, no, I think a lot. I'm not sure if it's been disseminated, properly to evenly to communities that are involved. I couldn't get the semantics of that, but the fact is, money's being raised. It's going back to certain areas. I know Colorado did put a lot of money in their education in their schools, so there's that. But at the same time, how we just talked about the Euro Cup. There's some numbers that came out here. Let me share with you. 15,000 cannabis fans turned out to celebrate all things weed in the Euro Cup in Sonoma. That's 15,000 out of towners coming to visit this little area and dump money. This is like why Seattle Hemp Fest has always been so good. You're creating you're generating revenue. Like, it's just, why is it that making influx of cash your community bad?
Yeah,
You know?
seriously. But that's what we do here at Cannabis Legalization News, and that's pretty much the whole hour. Thank you so much for spending it with us. All shouts out to our members. If you like this stuff, smash the like button, hit and click subscribe. Tomorrow, I'm gonna try. I have to edit it. I haven't edited it yet. Yeah, okay. But can you bring weed on an airplane? That'll be the next one that I dropped. After that, should your cannabis company buy templates? And then I'm trying to do like one by Monday. Every week, do one of those videos, because YouTube knocked us out of suggested views, because I guess we are something that's subversive, I guess. And so we had this huge influx of subscribers because of suggested views. However, our suggested views have declined, and now we're back to what we were, a search engine optimization growth pattern. And that's usually all you can do in cannabis until it's legal. And then it can be alcohol, and then we'll corner the market because people won't be stopping us. But, got to get there first, right?
Like, subscribe, and share. Thanks for joining us.
Shout out to the people that have made this possible. Here's their list.
I'm here to clean your pool. I don't have a pool.
You're here to clean our pool, and you don't have a pool. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. If you want anything else, make sure that you call Miggy for cleaning your pools.